Hey guys, welcome back. Jeb Smith here. So today we got news earlier in the day that President Biden has once again extended mortgage forbearance as well as the foreclosure moratorium through the end of June. So what does that actually mean? Well, we're going to pull up a document here in a moment that explains some things in a little bit more detail to provide a little clarification. But keep in mind, one thing that was not extended as part of this passing was the eviction moratorium. Right now, the eviction moratorium is still set to expire at the end of March. Now, just a couple of months ago, when President Biden was elected into office, one of the first things he did on the very first day was sign executive orders. Those executive orders, one of those executive orders pushed the foreclosure and eviction moratorium through the end of March. Well, as of today, he extended the foreclosure moratorium, but not the eviction moratorium. So as of right now, as I mentioned a moment ago, the eviction moratorium is set to expire at the end of March. But in addition to that, he also pushed out mortgage forbearance. He extended it through the end of June. Now, this is an extension of the original CARES Act that was passed back in March by the Trump administration. So originally, when the Trump administration passed the original bill, it gave people up to 12 months of mortgage forbearance. Well, this extends it even further through the end of June. Now, this would be, this would encompass all loans in theory. It would take in FHA loans. It would, in theory, take in VA loans, USDA loans. All of those loans should be included as part of this extension. Now, in addition to that, he also added that if you apply for mortgage forbearance before June 30th, that you'll actually be granted up to an additional 6 months of mortgage forbearance. What does that actually mean? It's hard to say right now because we don't have the full details on how that's going to lay out. But if you're one of those people who filed for mortgage forbearance in March of last year, you essentially had until March of this year with that original 12 months. Now, he's saying if you apply for mortgage forbearance before June of 30th of this year, that they're actually going to give you an additional 6 months. So does that 6 months past the March of last year, or is it 6 months if you haven't filed yet, they're going to grant you an additional 6 months? That part isn't clear at the moment. So as I get more information on that, we'll discuss it even further, but I did want to pull up an article from Politico that talks about it in a little bit more detail. I'll link to that article below so that you have more information in case you want to read the entire article, because I'm just going to go over a couple of highlighted pieces. And then we're going to talk about what you should do if you're thinking about mortgage forbearance right now. What are your mortgage forbearance options? Because a lot of people are really unclear on how mortgage forbearance might affect them and whether it's the right option. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment, but let's take a minute here and pull up that article. So again, it says Biden extends foreclosure moratorium and mortgage forbearance through June. Doesn't say anything about evictions there. So it says the Biden administration announced Tuesday that it would extend the foreclosure moratorium and mortgage forbearance through the end of June. This action would block home foreclosures and offer delayed mortgage payments until July, as well as offer 6 months of additional mortgage forbearance for those who enroll on or before June 30th. That's the part that's unclear. Are they, granting you an additional 6 months past your 12, or what does that actually mean? I'm sure we're going to get more clarification as it comes out, and I'll continue to update you on that so you can stay, up to date on everything with regards to forbearance. Now, here's the part that I mentioned a moment ago. The eviction moratorium remains in effect through March, but was not included in the actions announced Tuesday. So that's what we talked about. So earlier with his executive order, he did mention that he would extend eviction and foreclosure moratorium through the end of March. Now, this extension just goes with the foreclosure moratorium. So what does that actually mean? That means that in theory, right now, your property cannot be foreclosed upon. If you're behind on your payments due to unforeseen circumstances or what have you, in theory, you should not be foreclosed upon with this extension. Now, that's going to keep supply low. It's going to, continue to push housing prices up in a lot of cases. So just keep that in mind if you're somebody that's out there looking to purchase real estate and you're thinking that you're going to buy foreclosures or that this foreclosure wave is going to cause housing prices to pull back or what have you. This is something that's likely to continue getting extended for some period of time. Right now through the end of June, right? So that's going to be halfway through the year of 2021, and likely to be extended even further. So a moment ago, I mentioned what you should do if you were thinking about mortgage forbearance. Now, mortgage forbearance is one of those things that sounds like a really good deal because you don't have to make your mortgage payments. Now, if you're one of those people who actually need it, you can't continue making your payments, there's no way around it, then mortgage forbearance could be a good thing. It could be a saving grace for you if you're not in a position to sell your property or don't want to sell your property at this time and think you'll be on your feet, then maybe mortgage forbearance is the right option. But if you're one of those people who are just taking forbearance because you want to save the money to pay off debt or try to put it into a savings account so you can do something with it later, I would ask you to reconsider, because the idea that you're missing these payments, they do have to be paid back at some point in the future. And I realize there's a lot of people out there telling you, hey, you can just miss these payments and throw them on the back of your loan and continue making your payment when that forbearance has ended. And that is the case if you qualify. The lender is going to make you qualify for that deferment. That's called deferment or a partial claim if you have an FHA loan, when you throw those payments to the end of the loan. So not everyone is going to qualify for that. And if you don't qualify, the lender is going to give you one of a couple of other options. One is a repayment option, where they take those lump sums, they spread it over a period of time, and you pay more each month until that is repaid. There's a loan modification option where they modify your loan. That could affect your credit in some ways if your loan has been modified. There's a couple of different things that they can do to modify your loan. Ideally, not the option that you want. The deferment option is option number one, in my opinion, if you can qualify. And then lastly is a lump sum payment option, where they require that monthly payment. Now, they don't have to. That is not the only option they can give you. They have to give you other options outside of a lump sum payment option. So don't think that you're just going to have to pay all of those back at one time. They do have to give you other options, but that is one of the repayment options. And then there's the loss mitigation options, which is similar to the loan modification that I mentioned a moment ago. But don't think that just, because you miss these payments that you're just going to be able to throw them to the back of the loan and pay them later and all is good. That might be the case, but it might not be the case. So if you're someone who is considering it, make sure you actually need it before taking it, right? I mean, there are other options like selling your property and what have you to avoid, the potential of foreclosure or what have you. But just understand that mortgage forbearance is something there to assist you if you need it. It shouldn't be taken advantage of. So that's my thoughts on mortgage forbearance. As I've mentioned many, many times, I will continue to update you on this subject as more information comes out. I do expect that this will probably get extended even further, the foreclosure moratorium, likely forbearance, if we're still in this predicament in a couple of months. So, but I will continue to keep you in the loop of everything going on. If you have questions for me, do me a favor, comment below. But for now, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Appreciate the support. See you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.